Yay! Happy Thursday. Hold on a second. Okay, so thank you for being here or watching the recording. I totally appreciate it and enjoy your energy. So I'm just going to be talking a little bit. I'm Amanda Seal, in case you don't know who I am, and I just a little bit about me. I have been a coach for over 7 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about, and basically for the last year and a half, as I've had a newborn and an infant and now a toddler, I've been like kind of taking a maternity leave essentially from coaching. And it was really hard for me to transition from somebody who had all the free time in the world to make videos and create content and everything, and focus totally on my business because my husband had like his own thing and I had this, and um, that changed a lot, like drastically when the baby was here. So I kind of had to take time because that's just the stage of life that we were in. But I was feeling so frustrated because I was disorganized and felt like I couldn't work or think or whatever. Um, and I had gotten access to the Melanie Mitro recruitment course in October, maybe. Um, and I felt like I got something out of that, but not really. Like it just was a little bit too much for me. And so I was really nervous, honestly, to invest in this mastermind, which I'm going to talk about. It's 12 weeks and it is with a different coach, Jessica Griffin. She's from New Jersey. If you are local, she and her team are they're local, sort of. They live in New Jersey. A lot of them live in New Jersey or at least in the surrounding areas. So they go to our super weekend in Philly, which is awesome. So if you've been there, you definitely know Team Defy Gravity. And basically what she did was she just like exploded. And she has a really super successful team. And I also just like as a person, and like the mindset really relate to her. So at the end of January, she had this workshop and it was called Unstuck. And that's exactly how I felt, is like I felt stuck because I was in this mom life, not really knowing where to go and knowing that I wanted traction in my business, but I wasn't doing what I needed to do. And she just really spoke to me. And um, so her mastermind, I knew this was going to need to be a commitment, but it wasn't really like the Melanie Mitro thing. It's live calls, and she gives us activities to do, but she's really walking us through them like in live time. And so I'm going to share a little bit about what those are. I felt like you needed that backstory to kind of understand what I'm going to talk about. So her whole thing, the whole theme of it is unstuck, right? And so what she has us do is doing a lot of reflection in this first. So we're like 5 calls in, so about 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks of content that we've done. And so the first thing that she had us do was kind of like think about like what do you really want for yourself. First I want to backtrack because she gave us this big super simple tracker. She's like, oh, she's got 3 girls and she's super busy, and so she gave us this time tracker which I've been using, and it's been super helpful. Like I do have a planner too, but this really gets into like the hours of the day. So I shared about this on the on the Destiny United page. And this has honestly, she keeps asking like, what's been the most helpful? Well, one, it's the live calls and really being surrounded by 15 other women who are like really gung ho and like they want bigger things. And so when you're surrounded by people who are not BSing around, it makes a big, big difference. And, I felt like I really couldn't lead the last year and a half. I felt like I could barely show up for myself and my journey. Thank God for habits that I set beforehand because it made it a lot easier. But like in terms of my business, I really lost that and I felt really stuck. This was huge because it really shows you like where you do have the time and when you don't, right? And so I've found that I can really be a lot more present with my family, which is important to me. She has us do these values work. So she's like, what are your values? What are important to you? So I want to challenge you guys really, and we'll go through some of these and I'll ask you some questions. So get a notebook out because I do want you to start thinking about these things. I know we talk about vision boards and like really visualizing what your perfect day is and things like that, but if you're not, and she talks about this like a lot, if you're not looking at them every day, if you're not saying them out loud, if you are not really like reminding yourself every single day of what you're working for, you will just not care or not do it. So doing that really deep reflection and really like actually getting to the point where you realize like I want this and I'm not afraid to say it out loud. The other thing is you need to really talk about it and manifest it and like say what you mean and mean what you say, and it there's power in that. And so that's something that I wasn't doing and something that I'm still working on getting in the habit of doing because it's just not natural for me. And there's a lot of things that stand in our way. And when we're able to kind of look and pick out what those things are, which she does have us do too, it's helpful. It really does help. All of those things really, really matter. So getting around people that are going places, you know, that was one of the things that she said in the first call that really stuck with me. People want to be around people who are going places, period. So they want to see where your journey is. They don't want to see you as a successful coach already. They want to know where you're going and they want to follow along with the journey. I said that as I was pregnant, right? Like people want to see your whole journey. They do that with your fitness too, right? So it's the same with your coaching business. Share what you want and what you're envisioning for yourself, because not only is it going to keep you motivated, it's also going to motivate the people who are watching you. And then we get into really knowing who you really are speaking to. Because if you're trying to talk to everybody, you will talk to nobody, period. Period, period, period. So all right. So the time tracker, that's a huge thing that she gave us that was incredible. Okay. Some questions that I want to ask you, and some of the activities that we went through. One was a future forecast, which is basically a vision, but it's a forecast. She says she doesn't like to call it a vision because a vision is like, forget exactly what she said, but I like the way she explained that a future forecast is like where you're going, right? You're forecasting your future, right? So some of the questions, and so hopefully you have a place to write and a place to kind of like brain dump here. So she had us first think of what keeps you up at night. What are your biggest worries? What's the elephant on your chest? So think about those things. And I'll give you some time to do that, or if you want to just unmute and start to share. But the next part of this is
what do you mean? Sorry, what do you mean what keeps you up at night?
So are there things that keep you up at night? I can give you my examples because I did this work already. And so sometimes she'll give examples and that's helpful. So mine, what are I worry about things like for mom things, right? Did I forget to, or oh man, I did forget to do that. But a big thing, honestly, this is really funny, and maybe you guys can relate to this or maybe not, but a big thing that keeps me up at night before Beachbody, the things that keep me up at night were like really bad anxiety, like overthinking and worrying about my health and like this hurts. Oh my God, what's wrong? Like that used to keep me up. Now, those are not the things that keep me up. And in fact, what wakes me up early, and when I wake up, I start thinking, and I'm not worrying. I'm honestly thinking like I should be doing this. I have these ideas, these post ideas. It's like the all the good ideas come to me in the middle of the night, and I can't go back to sleep. And I'm like, oh, I should be writing these down. This is a great post idea. This is what I want to speak to, and then I don't do it, and then I lose those ideas. And so those are honestly some of the things. And it's funny because I know anxiety can keep a lot of people up, but for me, it's like it's my ideas and like where I want to go. honestly. So I don't know if that helps you. Sometimes for me, it's also just feeling like, oh, like I can't rest because I always have too much to do. Like whether it's stuff that I want to do or just things that I have to do. Those, so what are the things that keep you up? And then this is really a brain dump, so it doesn't have to be perfect or pretty, but really, and this is really like your vision, but think, and maybe just write this down because you'll probably need to go back to this. If you have time to go back to this, I don't want to spend too much time on your future forecast, but it can really help you to see where you're going. So some of the prompts that she has for this are, if you had all the money and time in the world, what would your ideal day look like? So you might have done this work already if you've done a bit vision, but think about like what your ideal Monday through Friday would be like. How many hours per week would you work? How much time would you take off? How much would you earn? So that was a big one. This is just a brain dump, but then when I wrote my future forecast, it was like, one of the things that she said that was huge to me was she was like, put an actual number on the amount that you want to earn per year, whether it's from body or if it's from all of your things that you're doing all together. So she does this. She's like, earned I earned $500,000 from body, and then I earn this extra amount from like her own personal coaching that she's doing here with this mastermind, which is probably like an absurd amount because there's 15 of us and it was 2023 for each of us. So just do the math on there. It's a lot of money. That's just from this. So like, just think about the possibilities. Like when you think about that and you have something to offer like that, people will pay for it if they see the value. And right, she's speaking right to people who want her service, and it's honestly been amazing. And so don't discount what you're capable of, and don't even like, sure, you can do body for your full-time thing, but you don't need to do that there. And honestly, that's not my end game. Like I just told you, I have way too many ideas to just like be pigeonholed into this. It's just, honestly, for me, it's just my stepping stone. So I want you to think about that and maybe come back to it. But knowing this and really being specific about how much do you earn? What does your day look like? How much time do you have off? What footprint are you leaving in the world, right? So when you are gone, what do you want to leave behind? That was a big one. What are you going to contribute to the world? How do you feel physically and mentally? So that's another thing. Like, it's not just about finances, it's also how do you feel physically and mentally, and describe that in as much detail as possible. Okay. So you kind of get an idea. Once you have that future forecast and it's literally written down, and she also has this vitality checklist. And one of the things on the checklist is read your future forecast every single day, right? So if you're reading this, you're reading your future forecast, it's like literally like your reminder of why you're doing what you're doing. Then next she had us like examining our values, and I love this. The values are like, what's important to you? Why are you doing what you're doing? Let me pull out the values thing. Okay. Yes. So what are your values? So okay, so some examples are in 20. So let me backtrack here. So what are things that you value? Sorry, the prompt in here is not like totally flushed out, so I'm a little bit like, wait, how do I explain this? But the example that she gave, okay, I'll give an example. So one of my values is being able to have flexibility and time freedom. Okay. And one of my things, like literally since the beginning of my body business, has been wanting to be able to just like drop everything I'm doing and be able to go have lunch with somebody. I can't do that at the job that I'm at because I am chained to a desk. I need to be at the office, and I can't just decide I want to go to Sellersville and have lunch with my grandmother, because that would literally take like 3 hours of my day, and I don't have the flexibility to do that. So that's my number one value on here, is flexibility and time freedom, being able to create my own schedule and ability to change things whenever needed without needing to ask permission from anybody else. That's huge. That's literally my number one value. But also creative freedom. So think about the things that you like, and I'll share mine just so like you have some ideas. But think of the things that are really important to you. Mine are creative freedom, being able to create projects, resources, and to serve my people my own way, and to fulfill a need and my own personal mission. Family time, being able to spend time with people because we don't get time back, and also work-life balance. So no burnout. So I want to have the energy and vitality to do the things that I want to do and that are important to me. And I can't do that if I'm working 2 jobs, because it's just exhausting, right? Limited financial stress. So I want to be able to have enough money to live comfortably or more. That for me means paying the bills, having money in this fund for emergencies, and also having money for fun. Like, so that to me is really like having that financial security. With no stress. That's so important to me because I didn't grow up like that at all. And I do feel like we live that way now, but if I didn't have my job and Glenn didn't have his job, that wouldn't be the case. So money with meaning. I want to have a job that means something, a job that excites me, is meaningful, that leaves a positive impact on others. So that's really important to me. And I do have that. I do have that in both of my jobs. But again, I don't, right? Like you might see like, oh, I do have this in some of my jobs, but then you're not fulfilling all of your values. And I know that body will give me the opportunity to really fulfill all my values as long as I build a team and duplicate the way that I need to, right? Once we have a mission that other people align with and get them excited about, that really is possible. And Jess is really proof of that. So is any other successful coaches that have done this, you guys. And health overall, having a job that encourages and supports physical, mental, and emotional wellness. That's huge. And we have that. So also my number 8 one was adequate rest. Again, if I'm constantly burning the candle at both ends, then I don't have the ability to actually rest the way that I need to. And right, if one of my values is vitality and having complete quality of life, then I can't be working a million hours and I can't have 2 jobs, right? Okay. So then once you know what your values are, then evaluate whether or not the life that you have really supports those values in a full way. And so I explained a little bit of that for you. Like, yes, I do feel fulfilled in my life right now. I'm happy and it's okay, but honestly, it's not exactly what I want. And I think my thing that I'm getting out of this and the people that I want to speak to is that just because it's good doesn't mean you don't deserve better, or you don't deserve exactly what you want. And in order to actually get that, you have to work for it. You might need to make short-term like sacrifices to be able to get there, but it will be worth it when you know where you're going. That's why that future forecast is so important, right? So that's kind of, she has us work through that, and then our values. And then she had us last night, then she had us do this exercise, which I love, and maybe you guys saw this because I posted it in the group. What sets you apart, right? Now, I think this is speaking to some of you who were like, how do I convert? The same people are always watching, right? Like, so what sets you apart? What makes you who you are? What makes you really good at what you do, either as a body coach or at your job that you're working now? What makes you an excellent worker. Like, I'll give you some of these prompts, okay? So what sets you apart, and this is finding your superpower, she calls it. One thing that you can do, and this is the thing that you can do. So write this down. If you're like, oh, I don't have an idea for a post, here's one. Here's a freebie, and it's really good, and it's an engagement post. So I posted it in the group, and I posted it on my social media, and I said, please leave below 3 things that you think of, or words that you think of when you think of me. So that helps you to get a sense of what people think of you, and some of the things that they say might surprise you, and some of the things may not surprise you, but it's helpful to have that feedback, right? And it also helps you dig into what sets you apart, what makes you special, and how do other people view you. So that's a sort of an exercise that's built into this, and it's like a freebie post idea, so you're welcome. But some of the questions here are, what unique contribution do I bring to the projects, conversations, and the meetings I attend? So really, what do you bring to your team? What do you bring to your team, either here, this team here, or your team at work? What contributions do you bring? And then, what do people rely on you for? You know, this is kind of a brain dump. So just kind of, what do you people rely on you for? Other people on your team at work, or on this team, or maybe your friends and family. What are you reliable for? And what would be missing if you left? That's a big one, right? What would be missing if you left? For me, I say high standards, sticking to an agenda, respecting people's time. Not everybody has that, and that's okay. There is no right or wrong. Like, you are you, and that's important. You don't need to be me, but this is me. And being able to see our strengths and really celebrate those helps us to step into, like, this is who I am. This is where I'm going. This is the kind of person I would like to bring along with me, because I want another workhorse who's willing to put their head down and do it for the damn mission, right? So I need to get out on my social media and say, this is who I am. This is who I'm looking for. And then I'm not attracting people who are like, I kind of want to do this. Like, yes, they're hobby coaches are wonderful, and I could not do this work without them. If they want to send a link and they want to send a link, great. But and there's no way I'm not going to celebrate them for the work that they do, and the contributions that they're making to this team, because everybody matters. And I also believe that. But also, I need a team of runners. If I have these humongous goals to be like, we're not having my 2 jobs anymore, then I need to get my shit together. And I need to also have other people who are like, I would like to quit my job too. Sign me up. Right? And that never happens without us actually saying that this is what I want. This is who I am. This is what I'm looking for. And here's why. Here's also what we're working for. And that's the mission part that we're going to go into in a little bit too. So other things to think about are what makes you stand out from your competition. If you're in your current job, if you have one, and as a coach. So what makes you stand out from your competition? And it gets so much easier to actually like have conversations when you're completely genuine. So if you know what makes you stand out and who you are, it's so much easier to just post that way, right? 3 skills that you've developed that make you successful at what you do, both at your current job, if you have one, and as a coach. For me, I said coaching, like really being able to ask questions to people to help them find their solution that's individualized, not telling them what to do, but asking them to find out their solution. That's huge, because they're never going to do it if they don't have ownership over their own goals. That's a skill that I've gotten from my current job, and I've built it through practice there and here, and that's amazing. And not every coach knows really how to do that, because sometimes what we do is we just want to tell people, that's how I used to do it, right? Just want to tell people, do this is what I'm doing. But what do you mean? Share more about what?
Good, I get to unmute because I'm like biting at the bit over here. I'm like trying to type as fast as I can. Share more about that. Do you mean like, oh, that was in caps. I'm sorry.
It's
Do you mean like when you're talking to potential people to join your boot camps, like you don't tell them like you got to do the 4-week gut protocol, you're actually having in-depth conversations with them about exactly what they need. Like,
yeah, like I asked them
tell me
more
what you explain, just explain more exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so my conversations, and Jenna can attest to this because she'll ask me questions and usually I answer her with another question. Is that not right? That's exactly, and that's what coaching is. Because really, I don't want to tell Jenna how to answer somebody else. I say, I wonder, and this is the thing. I've learned this from my coach, my bosses at work. They're incredible. Like I literally could never be the person that I am without them, and really being able to practice this with my staff. But it's right. I don't believe in telling people what they need to do. I believe in leading them to their own answer through asking them lots and lots and lots of questions, because what that tells me is if they're willing to answer, they're in the right direction. That's why also when they tell me that they have troubles with nutrition, I always ask them a question. I say, well, can you identify what's getting in your way? What is it? Is it, I try not to even, yeah, thank you, Heather. Like I try not to even ask them like really leading questions. I like to ask questions that are like, how, um, there's like what, right? So do, and like, do you think like those are still leading? They can be open-ended questions, but they're still leading into an answer that you might want, right? So there's 3 words. I think it's how, what, and if, something like that. Those typically lead into like a really truly open-ended question, right? And so it takes a lot of thought and a lot of practice. And one other thing that, yes, it is. It's totally a skill, and you can learn it. And I think it's so important. And I don't think a lot of coaches in our network really have that skill. Jess does, and that's what I really do like. When people ask questions and when people like on this call ask questions, or on her call ask questions and she responds with a question, I'm like, that's a coach. That's a coach right there, because really they're trying to help that person think about what their solution is to that, because it always means more when it comes from that person. Jenna knows this because she has to do this in therapy, right? It's all about reflection. It's all about helping that person come to their own solution and helping them think through their own things, because without like helping them get to what's holding themselves back, we don't know. And we can't assume, because that's not helpful to them, and it's not helpful to us either. We got to ask the questions. They got to tell us, right? So that's kind of what I mean about that. Relationship building is another skill, which is, I always think of it as getting curious and connecting with people. And again, I do that all through questioning, asking questions. I always think, how can I answer this person with a question? Because it gets them to talk. And then goal setting. So really helping them break it down into clear behaviors that they know, like, okay, this week my goal is, and something that they can visually see and measure. And it's hard when people aren't responding, right? Then there's the trouble of like people not responding to you and people ghosting you, and then they sign up and then they don't. It happens to me too. Okay. But when I get somebody who actually is paying it, like they really want to do what they say they want to do, then this is how I'm coaching them through it. So the last thing is 3 things in your coaching business, and this should be pretty easy. What are 3 things in your current job or coaching business that make you the happiest? Like for me, it's literally like signing up a new person, teaching and training, like calls like this, or anytime I can be on stage or in front of a room, teaching something that I know somebody else can get something from it. That's one of my happiest times ever. and the ripple effect that what we do has it on families. And when I see that, like when I see Jenna's girl, Cora on this virtual gym, like, or eating vegetables or asking her, like, that really just makes me the happiest, because it's not just about helping a mom. Then it's like you're helping a family, and that's what's so meaningful to me. It's a big part of why I do what I do. So think about those things can help you identify what sets you apart. And then she had us think this week about mission, which is huge. Well, mission is kind of about like, who are you talking to? But really and I was talking to Glenn about this before he left for his meeting, but it's really like your mission is really like, what's the point? What's the point? Right? What's the point? Why are you doing this? What's the point? And so a good mission statement will not only explain your brand purpose, but it will foster a connection with customers. So make sure it's clear, concise, and free of fluff. And her mission, she has like 2 different mission statements. So this can be overwhelming because, right, we have the health and wellness side of it, and then we have like the business building side of it. So like it's really hard. I think I really can't. I haven't figured out a way to like blend it into like one mission statement where it's encompassing everything that I really what my mission is. I'm still trying to figure it out. This is this week what we're doing. But right, when you know what you're doing, who you're doing it for, why, and like what's the formula? Who do you serve? What is their struggle? Where do you come in, and what's the transformation? So I'm going to give you a template and some prompts. Okay. So your purpose. So answering these questions will help you determine what your mission is, or help you kind of lead into that. So what's your purpose? What and who? What are you doing, and who is it for? Okay, that's what your purpose is. So what service do you provide or aim to provide, and for who? So think about that. Oh, good, Courtney. I didn't know. Could you share the values stuff in the team page from Darren Hardy? Is it like a PDF?
Yeah, it was a packet that I downloaded.
Awesome.
And get a hold of it. I'll share it again.
Yeah, so knowing your values is huge. Like this all goes together, really, you guys. But your mission, I think, might make it helpful for you, because it's going to help you know who you're talking to, and also what for. And when you know why you're working, because you have your future forecast. You know what your mission is, so you know who you're serving and who you want to talk to and who you're creating content for and the value you're providing to them, right? You can feel confident, right? And I just feel like even this week, even with this post that I just put up tonight, it's like I want them to know that they can have simple, effective workouts that they can do at home. And like, I don't know, I can. All right. Good night, Sharon. Thank you for getting on.
This is the part of that packet that I didn't do.
The mission?
The core values assessment is the part that I didn't get to.
Cool. There you go.
So I need to do it.
There you go. Yes. So Purpose, what and who. So what service do you provide or aim to provide for, and for whom? And again, this kind of really this goes along with what sets you apart, right? Because your mission, when people know what your mission is and whether or not like, and the good thing about this is your mission is good for your customer, but it's really good for your next team member, right? Because you can hand this to them. It's like, do you align with this? Are you down with this? Are you willing to work with me for this? Because if they look at that and they say no, then it's better off for both of you, right? So your mission is so important. Like I'm working, before I get into my own mission, let's go to the next one, which is your values, which is why. The core values you do it for. So what do you stand for, and values are also what make you unique. Does anybody want an example of the purpose that I have? Okay, so and this is just a brain dump. So they're all over the place because some of them are for coaching and some of them are for like what I offer for wellness. Okay, so individualized goals, right? I told you that I'm a coach and I will lead people to their own goals and help them break them down. Empowering, encouragement, an extra paycheck with a purpose, or a paycheck with a purpose, nutrition plans, a simple, effective at-home workouts, delicious recipes that are healthy and budget friendly, growth mindset, and that's pretty much what I have in there for purpose. Does anybody else want to share theirs? Your purpose? What service do you provide, or what do you, if you don't provide it, but you want to provide it, what would that be? Mine's also, I'd love to do more one-on-one like coaching sessions, but I just don't have the time. Like I'm not willing to make the time because I need sleep, and that would be what I would be giving up, and I'm not willing to do that. But if I didn't have my job, I would have 8 hours to do that, or at least 5, which is a big difference, right? Okay, so values. The values are what do you stand for, and values are what make you unique. So here are some of mine in case you need some like inspiration. My biggest ones are kids can only do as well as their parents are doing, and healthy families start with healthy parents. Those are my top values, right? And those are really the people that I want to serve. Eating healthy can be cost effective. Food should be nourishing and delicious. And if you see my content, like you can tell that's what I believe, right? That's a big value of mine. And because I work at Head Start too, I also believe in that budget friendly thing. Like I'm here to bust the myth that eating healthy is complicated or needs to be so expensive, because that's not true. Honestly, if you just know what to do and how to make it work, and I'm here for that, like it's actually a lot cheaper than eating healthy, which is buying a box of something that somebody else prepared for you. That is expensive. You're right. But not the way that I eat. It's not expensive. And so I'm here to provide that to other people, because I know that if parents know how to do that, they can afford more things for themselves and their families, and their families are also healthier. And that's huge, because that's a huge part of what I do at Head Start, and that's all that, it's low income families, and so that's also a piece of who I am, and I that's what sets me apart, right? So it's also a big part of my mission. Also, it is acceptance as we are. So you can come into my group or my team and be like a hot mess, and nobody's going to kick you out. Nobody's going to say like you're not welcome here. It's acceptance as we are, as unique individuals, and everybody has a voice, and everybody matters, and everybody has bad days and really good days, and you're accepted as you are. That's a value of mine. And a commitment to a cause that we're working for. Moms needing a healthy outlet, right? I truly believe in that. And also not living paycheck to paycheck. That's another value of mine. And I also want that for literally like everybody else, because it's not fun to do that. And yeah. So hopefully that helped you with some of your values and getting those down on paper. And then your goals. Really, your goals are what do you accomplish for your customers? For me, it's learning how to eat in a way that feels good and tastes good. And that's like, I feel like that's got to be part of my mission, my mission statement. Learning how to eat in a way that feels good and tastes good, because it's huge to me, right? Food should be nourishing and delicious. It's like, I truly believe that. So other things are physical strength. Obviously, people in our groups are getting physically stronger. They're getting mentally stronger. They have more self-acceptance. They are speaking negatively less about themselves. They feel like they are part of a supportive and non-judgmental group and community, and they also have that healthy outlet. So those are some ideas of goals. Obviously, that's just like what I brain dumped. But then for creating your concise mission statement, and this is really the last thing that I have because this is the last piece of content that she gave us, is using the following prompts, and maybe like your brain dump that you just made, and this prompt. It is, I help blank. This is your target audience. So I help who? For me, it is, I help busy parents and professionals. Be, do, or have, for me, is find simple ways to fit healthy habits into their lives. Right. So, and then I was, let me finish before I get into that tangent. So that is, I help blank, and that's your target audience. Be, do, or have blank. And this is the value that you're providing to them, right? So be, do, or have the value you provide. So that's either like healthy, effective, or simple, effective home workouts, or encouragement to achieve their goals, or find simple ways to fit healthy habits into their busy lives, their hectic lives. That's what I need to do, is chaotic lives. It's like a crap, where's my pencil? So that blank, and this is the result that they really want. So you're really showing them, here, I provide this value and I can help you get this thing that you really want. So some of the other examples, let me try to think of what some of the other examples were. Like, I help women in their 40s learn how to hack their metabolism so that they can lose fat in a way that makes them feel good. Something like that. Like, because some of these ladies are in their 40s and 50s, and that's the target audience, right? And so if they're speaking to somebody that specifically, it's like, why would that person who really wants that ever ignore that person? Right? But then your content has to back it up. So how are you providing valuable content that speaks to that 40-year-old who wants fat loss but needs to know about metabolism? Right? Well, you're telling them how they need to lift weights, and you're telling them how they need to eat protein, because you're telling them they need sleep and enough water, right? Like, that's when you know all of this stuff, all of the rest of it comes in. And then when you're creating content, you don't need to have a lot of followers, right? Like, you just need to have the right followers, the right ones that need your service, what you have to offer. Jess's is like, I help autoimmune warrior people. Like, hers is something about metabolism, because that's kind of what she does. But I wish I knew what hers is. It's really good. And she has two different ones. She has a business one, and then she has like a wellness one, which I think that's kind of the route that I need to go. Because I can't but there are people that are really good, that are really good, and they have it in one simple one-liner, and it's amazing. Okay, Heather, was that you? Oh no, that was Courtney that shared. Yes. I'm helping women learn what we didn't learn about their The period, I'm having issues, Heather. Is it hard? What did I ask you? Okay. So what does anybody have like first, let me type this into the why didn't I think of this before? I help blank target audience be do have okay. So that's that I just put the template into the chat so you can like copy it and paste it into your notes or write it down or take a picture really quickly, because again, once you know your mission, like it's so helpful. Okay. Does that help, Heather? That template? Okay, good. So another thing that she's going to have us do, and I would love your help with this, is so she said write out like 3 or 4 options of your mission statement. So you don't really need to like really nail it down into just one, unless you know that that's the one and like that period. Because you guys even realize like before Glenn left, I was like, I can't figure out this mission statement. And today, this morning, as I was like, getting ready for work, I was thinking, okay, now what I want to say is I help the busiest people figure out a way to fit healthy habits into their hectic schedule or something like that. And of course I didn't write it down because I'm like making my Shakeology and feeding Wesley and like all of the things. The problem that I have, honestly. But once I have a couple minutes to like sit down and think about it, you can do this too. You can write out like a few things, and then this is another thing that you can kind of put out to your audience. And like your audience is the person that you want to have give you feedback on your mission, because that's the people you're trying to serve, right? So you can say, hey, I really need your help and I really value your feedback. Which of these 3 or 4 mission statements do you like the best and why? And then you can really kind of get feedback on like what are they thinking, and then you can kind of decide really where to go from there. So that's kind of what I've learned in 5 weeks and a really condensed nutshell. And I hope that was helpful for you. For me, it's like as I continue to go, it's like, I feel like I finally have a direction where I'm headed. Like I'm not doing anything perfectly, but that's like not really what I'm here to do. Perfection is never the goal for me anyway. What I need to do is just focus on like those habits and being consistent and really showing up and doing the things that are important to me to become that woman that I need to be, right? Part of this is when you're creating your future forecast, it also is like, who do you need to become in order to have that? Because you can't have like that life without becoming that person, because it's like having a baby before they're ready to come out 9 months, right? So you have to accept this as part of the process that you're learning and you're growing into that person who's going to have this future forecast, right? So do the work and figure out these things. She explains it, I know that this seems slow, but you have to do this kind of work to like for it all to really work out. So okay, Heather. Perfection is temporary, change is consistent. That's right. And yes. Yes. I love it. And I think the beauty of this is that everybody's mission statement, all these different little squares, right? Like the mission statements are different, right? We're all part of this bigger mission of body, which is it's so simple and concise, right? Help people live, help people achieve their goals and to live, to enjoy healthy, fulfilling lives, right? It is so concise, it's simple. Everybody, I think, on this call aligns with that, or else we wouldn't still be partnered with this company. But that if you're promoting that as your mission, you're not standing out. You don't stand out from anybody. So you need to figure out who you are serving and why and what makes you stand out. And then you can help those people. You're still part of the other bigger mission, but you're yourself. And that's what matters most. Right? Awesome. I love it. Look at all the squares. I hope this was helpful. Does anybody else have other questions? Because I know we're getting to 9 and I do want to, it's going to take time. Honestly, I don't know how much time this is going to take for me. And it's okay. She also said, like, listen, your mission may be different when you started, right? When I started, it was to like help beer people have a place to, or things to work out and whatever. It's evolved like so much in 7 years, and it's supposed to, because we're supposed to change as human beings. And so our mission and the things and the stages and parts of life that we're going through are going to change, and everybody's been through different things here, and it's like so powerful, right? So I'm speaking in a different way, and I think that's been hard for me too, figuring out who I am now as a mom who doesn't nearly drink as much beer because she just doesn't have an interest and has no time, right? Like, so I can't still be talking to beer people. I can't. I don't have an interest. It's not who I am anymore. And that's the point. We're supposed to grow. We're supposed to change. Yes, we're supposed to. Oh, I'm so behind. We're supposed to, as we learn more, what works and what doesn't. Yes. Yeah, so definitely know that your mission will change, and that's a good thing. It's okay to have a mission and let it change, right? Good. Okay. Anything else? Any other things that you're wondering, or how can I help? Because that's really what I'm gonna do. And know that I'm doing this work too. Hard. It is hard, but it's worth it, right? It's so worth it when one of the things that I said after one of the calls is like, I feel like, once you finish calls like this and you have like direction of where you're going, it's so energizing. Like, you don't need motivation, right? People are like, how are you so motivated? Well, I don't need motivation. Like, I don't need to be motivated when I know where I'm going and what I'm working for and who I want to do it and show up for. I don't need motivation for that. I'm automatically energized and excited about that. And I want that for all of you. That's a huge reason on why I'm sharing. Because it's like, when you think about it, it's actually pretty simple. Okay. Thank you. Good. I'm glad it was helpful. So I guess that's it. As long as you guys don't have questions or anything else, I'll let you go.
Amanda,
Yeah.
thank you so much, because I wasn't expecting this. I'm like, Amanda's gonna come and do the team call and it's gonna be great. I have like 5 pages of freaking notes and it's amazing. Like, you don't stop learning with this business. You
That's right.
never stop learning. You never stop evolving. You never stop growing. I'm like, been here for 11 years. I'm like, I can just like take a back seat, right? I don't need to like lean in and listen. I probably know what she's going to talk about. I took away 5 pages of notes from her. And now it's like, I'm fired up and re-energized. Like you said, like, I need to sit down and I need to do this so I can go pour that out onto social media. So thank you so much for taking the time to pour into the team. Let's do a boomerang if that's okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope somebody took a picture because I dropped the ball there.
No, I was too busy writing the whole entire time. My
I
brain-
can't do it because I'm on my phone, but whoever does it, tag me.
I always mess it up. I don't want to be the one. I don't want to be that one. All right. Boomerang, are we ready? And then I have all over my computer. Should I get all my sticky notes out of the way? All over my computer. Debt-free allows me to say yes to my family and my Success Club goals. Like those are the 3 sticky notes that are on my computer that I literally stare at all the time. Okay, I'm keeping the sticky notes. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Not clear, you guys. I don't want to do this. Hold on. Anybody else breathe on their phone? Disgusting. Okay, let's try again. Ready? Just keep moving. Just go. Just go. 1, 2, 3, go. Just keep going. Yeah, that's it. We got it. Dave, thank you, ladies. So tonight was such a blast. Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Too.